Good morning. So we're at day 2 and we're gonna do just a little bit of movement. So I've got a timer, a countdown or count up timer on my camera. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do just 30 seconds of a particular movement, and then we're gonna switch it to the next movement, switch it to the next movement. And so our bodies are created to move. We know that because I'm even moving now. Even if I'm sedentary and I sit all day long, I still move, right? We're in space-time continuum. We're in this gravity field. Our bodies were created in this amazing environment that God created to move. And so there's a couple of basic ways that our bodies move. And so I'll take the first minute to explain that. It's push, it's pull, it's squat, it's hinge, it's lunge, and it's twist. So 6 of those things. And so we'll do 30 seconds of each, and we'll probably do that 2 times through, and that will fulfill our 10-minute window. I'll shorten it up a little bit on the last one, and I'll show some modifications while I do each of the movements. So we'll start with push, and probably the easiest way to push is just to start and do a push up, right? But some of you may not be able to actually do a full push up, so that's fine. You can just sit here in the plank position, right? And if that's too hard, you can bring your knees down, right? And sit in the plank position, and then just create pressure that is push pressure, right? Downward in this push position. But for those of you that can, right, we can go all the way down and all the way up, or you can go modified, knees down, all the way down, all the way up. The big thing is that we're not kicking our hips way out. We're engaging our glutes, engaging our abs, and doing push-ups, right? And so that was easily 30 seconds. The next is pull, right? And so for this, I'm gonna get like a table or a chair, and then this is a dumbbell. You don't have to necessarily do a dumbbell, right? You could do just a grocery sack or even something like that, right? I'm gonna put one hand down, and then one hand is gonna pull, right? And then if that's too hard to pull all the way up, right? And you'll see if I show you on this side, pull all the way up. I'm keeping my elbow in tight, shoulders down and back, long spine, abs engaged, right? Then you could just do partial pulls, right? Or you could just hold it in that pull position and then really try to create a strong vertical core, abs engaged, right? In that position. And that is totally fine. So whatever you can do, and we'll go about 15 seconds on each side, right, for our pulls, and that's 30 seconds a piece. And I've already gone even more than that, right? So push, pull, and then we have squat. So squat's pretty simple. So I'm just here squatting down, or I could face at you, right? Squatting down, or face away, right? I could squat all the way down. So whichever one works for you. So you don't have to squat all the way down. You don't have to squat partially, whatever you are able to actually do, right? And so we could just do even partial squats, right? Like this. And those partial squats go a long way to get you nice and strong, right? And so that again was a little bit longer than 30 seconds. So push, pull, squat, hinge, dog, sit. Good girl. Okay, so my hinge, I'm just gonna hinge at my hips. So notice when I hinge at my hips, my spine is nice and tall. My abs are engaged, right? And I'm gonna hinge at my hips. Just nice and easy. If I look at you, it'll just look like this. But what I'm not doing is I'm not bending, rounding my back at all. I'm keeping my back straight. My abs are engaged, shoulders down and back. I lower myself down. It's also kind of driving your hips back. Think about that. So I'm driving my hips towards the wall or the tree or whatever behind me, and then coming back up. So nice. And again, if you can't go all the way down, right, you could just do partial hinge, And then slowly over time, that will be able to get deeper and you'll be able to get faster, and then we'll be able to add weight to it, right? So again, push, pull, squat, hinge. Now we have lunge. And so for lunge, I can just kind of step forward. So lunging is really just stepping, stopping, and then dropping straight down. So notice I've got most of my weight is in that front heel. I'm driving through that front heel of my front foot, and I'm keeping my spine nice and tall, abs engaged, shoulders down and back, and I'm just lowering my hips and then coming back up and stepping back. Step forward. Most of that weight is in that front heel, so I don't have a whole lot of weight back in my back foot. That's the typical problem, is we'll put a lot of weight in the back foot and then we'll wonder why our knees hurt afterwards. So put the weight in the front foot, 80% of your weight or more in the front foot, and then all of that weight, try to drive it through the heel, and then spine nice and tall, come down and back, right? So I can just do partial lunges here, or I could go all the way down if I feel like I've got good control and good pressure through the front of my heel, right? So again, push, pull, squat, hinge, lunge, and then the last one is rotate. So obviously our bodies are created for rotation, our shoulders are created for rotation, our hips are created for rotation. But if we don't train rotation, then we'll wonder why we get injured when our bodies rotate. So we're gonna actually rotate, and I'm gonna rotate with my hips. So think about if I was throwing a ball or if I was punching, boom, right? I'm gonna rotate, and I'm gonna actually flare my heel. So you can see my heel flares out off of the ball of the foot. And I'm gonna do that on both sides. So that's rotating with the hips involved. And then I'm gonna add shoulder. So I'm gonna bring my hand down and across, and then bring it up and out and open, and then bring this hand down and across. So almost like I'm following, and I'm gonna clap my hand. And what that's doing is that's getting our shoulders involved in the rotation. And then I can actually solidify my hips and then just rotate with my spine. So again, nice and slow and controlled rotations, right? So what do we have? We have push. So we could just be in the plank position here. Boom. Or we can do push-ups. And that's gonna work to engage our abs. We have pull, right? And so I can use a table or a chair, keep the spine nice and tall and pull. And this is what keeps your lower back from having too much pressure in it. And switch to the other side, pull. So push, pull, and then squat. So I'm squatting. And then hinge. So again, driving the hips back. Hinge, hinge. Works nice and easy if you haven't done this ever. Push, pull, squat, hinge, lunge. So this is me lunging towards you. I'm just stepping forward and stepping back, driving through that front heel. Front heel, abs stay engaged. Chest is proud, shoulders down and back. And last but not least, rotation. So I can solidify and just do torso rotations, nice and short. Don't over rotate to where you have too much pressure in your spine. Just slight rotations. I can rotate with my foot. I can rotate with my shoulders. And all of that to the glory of God, right? And you can do that 3 more times, 2 more times, 1 more time, no more times, right? That's a great first start. Again, err on the side of easier, err on the side of less, because over time, we're gonna keep adding on to this. And you can go a little bit deeper, you can go a little bit faster, right? You can move a little bit more, you could do more sets, you can add more time. There's a ton of different ways to add a little bit more to your movement, so your movement can continue to glorify God and not be in pain or limited or at issue, right? And again, it's not to focus or idolize movement or aesthetics or anything like that. It's to embrace what God has gifted us, which is these beautiful and amazing bodies that are incredibly created, adaptively created to be able to get stronger, move more, move with less pain, right? And again, I highly encourage you to click on the exercise resource, watch both of those videos. One is John Piper talking about why exercise is actually important. And then the other is a secular but research breakdown as to why exercise is so important. And so isn't it amazing that God created us in this way with bodies, and we can use these bodies to glorify God? And if we do this, chances are your mind is going to be clear, you're going to think better, right? You're going to be able to love better. You're going to be able to, again, continue to pray more clearly, understand what it is that maybe God has put in your path for you to be able to walk out literally and figuratively in your life. So I love you, and I'm praying for you.